Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of a Stoked podcast. I am Javon O. Stokes, aka the most opinionated man in comics, and I want to welcome you to another week. Another amazing guest, another amazing creative artist. Honestly, before I even get into his intro, I took some time to uh, kind of familiarize myself with his work, and dude, I was blown away. Like, I love seeing good art. Like, I'm not an artist that's like, yeah, I don't really care what anybody else doing. Like, I love to see good art, and what this gentleman does here is good art. So, and I can't wait to get into this. He also has a Kickstarter going, so we're gonna get into that. Before that, just to update on the Heat Wave tour. We're kind of winding down. It's a lot less shows coming up, but I might have an event to do on this Saturday in Connecticut, in New Haven. I might. We'll see. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. But I am announcing I will be at FSK Con. Travel has kind of been locked up. So most of the travel's been locked up. So, if you're in the Columbus, Dayton area, come through, come check me out. I'm always trying to branch out, west and south this year and next year. So this is kind of that first step. And yeah, I had a great time at Mice, by the way, last weekend. Phenomenal. Honestly, it was one of the most well-run Comic-Cons that I've ever been at. They actually took care of everybody, every vendor. Like, they took care of you. Like, people walking around, you want a snack, you want some water, you want something to drink, you need somebody to sit at your table. It wasn't just like, we're going to take care of the stars. It was like, we're going to take care of everybody. Now, I understand that every con can do that because this one is a smaller one, but frankly, it was nice. They even let everybody in the green room, so everybody got some food. It was fantastic. Absolutely would do it again next year. I think next year, though, if I do it, I'm going to bring some different stuff because it's very much like a indie, like real indie, not just superheroes, like everything. It's really quirky. But yeah, that's it for today. I try to give you updates on what I do. Just letting you know, I'm actually thinking about doing a show in which I do that, like announce projects, and I want to do reviews on comics and movies and stuff that's separate from this show and Top 5 Live. I'm working on it. We'll see how that goes. Um, uh, that was my wife. She was just saying that. I'm saying so. Anywho, we're gonna bring in our guest. This gentleman is an Atlanta-based fine artist, illustrator, and graphic novelist. He's received a full scholarship to the Columbus College of Art and Design, where he initially majored in film, but later focused his attention on illustration. Now he is a renowned comic book artist and writer with a incredibly successful graphic novel, DayBlack, which I didn't even know, which was optioned by CBS in 2020 to be made into an animated live-action hybrid series. Me and this gentleman talk all the time on Facebook, but we had never talked to him vocally until today. But you know what? That's how we do in this age, in this era. I'm happy to bring in the incredibly talented KEEF CROSS.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's good, man? What's good? Did I do all right?
That was good, man. I was like, you brought my college up. I was like, all right.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, you went to school in the area that I'm about to be. Well, that was Cleveland, right?
Columbus.
Yeah. I'm gonna be in
Not
Columbus.
Bardo.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Columbus in a month, so it was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, I got family in Dayton, so.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I know the area a little bit, not a lot.
It was definitely a culture shock moving up there from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it.
Oh yeah. But, it was a good thing. It was a good change, though.
I mean, I'm from Connecticut, and I went to school in Atlanta, so
you already know.
Oh yeah, it was in reverse. But I had an idea what Atlanta was like, but I love Atlanta. It's my second home.
Yeah, and it was a culture shock, but I think it was a needed shock. You know what I'm saying? To just And that's one of the reasons I went so far. I just needed to get away from where I was at. I just wanted to kind of start over. So that was the best place to do it, man. Because, whew, that freshman year was rough, man. Just the shock of just being like the only brother, like seemingly anywhere for miles. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was cool, man. I got put on to some good rock music. You know, some good, some good movies I probably never would have watched before. So it was a blessing.
So I did the opposite. I went to SCAD in
Okay.
Savannah. Now, Savannah got a lot of black folk, but the school at the time didn't have a ton of black folk.
This is true. I actually got a scholarship to go there too, but the only reason I didn't go there because at the time they were actually in Savannah. Now they're in Atlanta, but they were actually in Savannah, Georgia.
That's where I was.
The streets had like cobblestone, and there was like still slave auction blocks up by the river, and I was like, nah, bro. I could just see walking home drunk from a party one night and seeing some kind of ghost and some chains clinking behind me. It's like, nah, I'm not going here, man. I could just picture at night it's just too spooky. I was like, nah, let me go up here.
What year were you?
96.
Okay, so you would have been there, or if you had went, you would have been there. Or you would have almost been done when I went there. 99.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But hey, listen, man. Scat ain't for everybody, man. Scat ain't for everybody. Well, it's better now though in Atlanta. Because in Atlanta, like the minority population is like dominant. Or let me rephrase it. When I went, the minority population, it was black folk everywhere. I was literally like shocked.
It's still like that.
Okay, I was legit shocked. I was like, I ain't gotta like search for y'all. Like y'all right here. Okay,
nah, not at all.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, I am happy to have you on. And like I said, I was going through your artwork, and I was like, dog, I gotta talk to this man because this is some phenomenal stuff. I can see some of it behind you. I see that you work in ink.
I do.
Do you go straight to ink, or do you?
I work in ink usually when it's like commission pieces or like of course comic work. But when I paint, like when I paint, it's more like freer. You know what I'm saying? When I do pen and ink, it's a lot tighter. It's a lot more detailed. But when I do like paintings, it's more just like broad strokes. But ink is my it's my go-to, like to really just kind of zone out, just kind of focus and just the intricacies of it and the hatching and just the tedium of it. So but actually I really work digitally now more than anything else, but I still make it look like pen and ink.
Okay.
That's like my favorite, just pretty much medium.
Well, when you're working with ink though, do you start off like in pencil or do you just go straight to ink?
Oh yeah, I start off with pencil.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, like you was gonna really impress me. I like,
yeah, definitely start out with pencil. But I started out even before I knew I could draw. I started out tracing, and even now when I sketch, my sketches are just like straight lines. So I mean, if I probably wanted to like draw with a pen, I probably could, but for obvious reasons, you start with a pencil.
Right. Well, let's get into it. When did your love of art begin?
Man, my love of art, I'm gonna say it began when I knew that I could draw. When I found out I could draw. Before then, it was more just like a spectator. Like, oh, okay, I didn't love it, but I appreciated it. But when I finally realized that I was chosen to make art, you know what I'm saying, I kind of looked at it a little bit more differently. And but I will say a moment, and I will say that exact moment when I knew I could draw, I was drawing the cover to X-Men. I forget what issue it was, but it was the cover it was a Jim Lee cover, and it was Wolverine going up against the Mandarin. It was a real dynamic pose where Wolverine's just kind of like up like this, and Mandarin's like, So that is the first cover that I physically drew myself, and I was like, oh shit, I could really draw. But I would say when I fell in love with art, man, I don't know. It's probably by this cat named Charles Bibbs. He does like a lot of like, I guess, not abstract, but surreal, folky, black kind of art. I'm sure everybody's seen it, whether they know his name or not. But I think that's when I knew I wanted to be a fine artist.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking up Charles Bibbs now. I knew the name and like I think I knew the artwork. I just had to put the two and two together.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what, and I can see your influence. The
big time.
influence from big time. Did you have like encouragement? Like, did you have any mentors or people that were encouraging you in your journey, or were you like, solitary?
Constantly, man, constantly. And you always hear people say like, like everybody told them they weren't never gonna be nothing. Like my teacher said I wasn't gonna be. For me it was the complete opposite, man. My teacher was like, you can do like I've always had a really really strong support system, whether it comes from friends, family, colleagues, and I always try to reciprocate that. You know what I'm saying? Whenever somebody reaches out to me for advice or for any kind of encouragement, man, I'm like, if you're doing art on any level, for me, even if it's a level I feel like I'm above or below, you know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna like still like support you just for doing it, just for making art. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if more people, had that growing up, they wouldn't have that kind of chip on their shoulder. Like I just can't imagine somebody telling me I can't make it. Like I couldn't like the nerve, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even imagine somebody saying that to me, even if I wasn't good. Just to have enough balls to really say that to somebody, I think is real kind of messed up. And it
Yeah.
can affect people.
Oh yeah. Like I was like you. I had the same. I had encouragement, but I think I might have had one or two people along the way that was like, "You
Really.
can't do it." But I'm different. Like the people who watch this show know. Like if you doubt me or you tell me I can't do it,
You
that just
go harder.
motivates me, and I'm like, all right. So not only now am I going to do it, I'm gonna when I do it, like I'm gonna make sure you watch it.
That's the best revenge. Make sure you got a front. And that's why I don't block some people on Facebook or online, man. I was like, I need them to see what's about to happen. Yeah, you pissing me off, but you're gonna have to watch this. I ain't gonna block you. I want you to see what's gonna happen next. So that's the best revenge, man. Let
I
them
feel
see it.
you. I feel you. Nice, nice, nice. Who was your biggest cheerleader, girl? As you were beginning your journey into being an artist.
My mom, most definitely my mom. Like she can even be attributed for me even starting the tattoo, because when I was a kid, she would keep all of my drawings in her trunk, not all of them, but a lot of my artwork in her trunk. And whenever she heard of somebody that could draw or knew it, or we could be anywhere, she would always get me out the car, marching me up to them with my stuff. Go to the trunk. Like we finna go put some work in. Somebody like go pop the trunk. You know what I'm saying? Go get them sketchbooks. So we used to get them sketchbooks and just run up on people like, hey, I can draw. Like, what next? But she actually did that one time when I was probably 18, and we ran into this tattoo artist that ended up being the guy that trained me how to tattoo, and it all came from her kind of pushing me forward to do it and just kind of being assertive to really ask this guy. And then 20 years later, I was tattooing. Well, I'm retired now, but I was tattooing for about 22 years. So yeah, my mom is definitely that person.
Awesome, awesome. Now, did you have any like teachers, like people who were teaching you at the time? Like, what was your most memorable art instructor, if you had
Yeah,
one?
my most memorable art instructor was Tony Lodeholt. That was my art teacher from. I went to a visual performing art school called Tri Cities in East Point, Georgia, and he was definitely the most influential teacher in my life. He took me to the Million Man March, and he just and the funny thing is he wasn't an artist in the traditional sense. He was more of a sculptor, but he just was always just super supportive. He was a cool dude. Like he was a real kind of like pro black, but real like smooth. Just somebody you kind of would want to be if you were a teenager. And yeah, he let me hang out in class. Like sometimes I can cut a couple classes in his room. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I don't want to incriminate him too much. So I think he's still a teacher. But
About to
Tony
get that man
Lowe,
fired, man. Don't get him fired, man.
yeah,
I
don't get him
don't,
fired.
don't want him to have, people start investigating him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But I have been, but what's really cool is I have been in a couple art shows with him, and I thought that was like a real full circle moment. Whenever I get to share space with people that I like admire, like it's always major. Like from Brother Man Comics, Dawood, like I was on I think I've been in a panel with him, or I've done shows with him. Just to be in that space is like, man, you done made it. Like, even if it don't mean money, just like you doing something right. You know, it's that validation with stuff like that, man. You can't buy. You know.
Oh, I'm with you, man. I gotta tell people all the time, man. When I got to sit, when my table was sitting right next to Dennis Cohen, I was like, all right, I might be doing something. I might be doing something right. But I get it.
Yeah, man.
So you've been doing artwork I'm assuming through your high school and everything. You say you got a scholarship to the Columbus School of Art.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to go A, to an art school as opposed to a regular university, and B, to Columbus?
Well, I wasn't a great student in school, academically. And as soon as I found out, I don't think they do it anymore now, but there was this thing called college prep, where if you did, and I found out, so you had to take a certain amount of classes for college prep to go to school. But once I found out that you didn't have to do that to go to art school, I was like, I'm going to art school, because they didn't have the same requirement. So I was always good at writing. I was horrible at math. I was horrible at, I just couldn't see going right back into school for 4 more years after just surviving high school. So I was like, let me go ahead and go to art school, man, and just see what happens. I didn't expect to. My dad was like, "You're never going to get a job." Like, he was like, my dad took me to our orientation, and they took us around the school. They showed us all the classes. They broke down everything I'd be learning, and at the end, my dad was like, "So basically, you just teach all these kids stuff that they're not going to be able to use in the real world." And I was like, "Dad, chill," you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure a lot of students out there will be like, "Yeah, your dad was spitting. He was spitting facts," but still, you know what I'm saying? But the reason I wanted to go to Columbus, Ohio, is just because I just wanted to get away from where I was at. I just wanted to like get some independence away from my mother, and just and my friend. A lot of the people I used to be cool with were kind of doing other things that I wasn't really trying to do. So it was just a chance for me to just kind of break free and still be getting an education at the same time. So for me, it was just kind of like an escape plan. But it was a great thing, though. It was a great way to escape, to just learn some new stuff, and to be around different cultures, which in Atlanta I hadn't been. You know what I'm saying? It was valuable to be around white people, to be around Indian people, Asian people, to just kind of get the full gamut of people, and just kind of and what was weird when I was there, like a lot of people, like I had white people coming up to me like, "Yo, you're so cool. You're the first black person I ever met." I was like, "What? Like, ever?" You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "Okay, so nice to meet you. What's up?"
It's like,
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with
I'm
that.
not representative of my entire
race.
race.
But it just blew my mind that there are actually people, and these are like kids from like middle America, you know what I'm saying? Where it was like, they didn't choose not to meet any black people, but they just never happened.
They're not there.
That is wild, man.
It's awesome, man. That's all. Yeah, I get, I had the same experience, picking colleges, because I wanted to do, I wanted to go to historically black college first.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, I want to do Morehouse, I want to do everything. And then I heard about SCAD, and then I was like, so we get to just draw all day?
That's it. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that one might fit me a little better. So, and I think I've always said that I don't think I would have done well at a university.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I probably, especially if it wasn't an art-based thing, like if I went for anything else, I probably would have flamed out.
Yeah.
But, having that vehicle, an art school to have that vehicle to actually give you a higher education while pointing you in the direction of something you love to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely saved me.
And another one and I was like, I didn't want to waste anybody's money or time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew already then, like, I'm not that type of student. I'm just not that type of, student. I don't want to put so much time into something that, so yeah, it was also a money issue. I was like, why even waste time if I know I'm not even doing
Right.
good here. You know what I'm saying? So why would I go to a higher institution?
Did they have y'all do like art, like English and math courses? Like, did y'all
Yeah,
have like the base
right.
courses?
So yeah, they actually did. So, but about that is, so every year there's like a freshman, like the freshman year was just really grueling because they're trying to like weed out all the people. You know what I'm saying? So they gave us a bunch of academics, but I just dropped all my academic classes every year. I just dropped them. Senior year, they was like, well, you took everything else. There's nothing else for you to take but all these academic classes, and you can't graduate without it. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. I've learned. I've taken everything from this institution I can. I'm out. And I just had a baby too, so I was like, okay, I got this baby. I got math, history, and science. I'm just gonna go back to Atlanta, and I just went back to Atlanta.
You just said, all right, I'm good. I don't need it. I
I'm
don't need the
good.
degree.
I'm
I don't
good.
need
I'm
this
good.
degree.
You know, so
F your degree, man. I'm good. I got everything I need.
pretty much. I don't know if that's the best decision, but that's what I did.
Hey, and you know what? If it worked out, it worked out. I can't
I
imagine doing
painted
that.
myself in the corner, and yeah, just,
Yeah, I hate it. Like we had to we had to do, we had to do math. I'm terrible at math.
me too.
Like I'm terrible. And I used to I'm not gonna incriminate myself online.
Mm.
I used to do things to get by that it wasn't great when, but I used to get by because I hated it. Like I used to leave class early. I used to be like, all right, like we would have like a break because I don't know how y'all classes were structured, but for us it was like every class was like 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
No, they weren't that
so,
long. I don't remember being that long.
Oh yeah, but you only did 3 classes a week.
Okay.
So you did 3 classes. So you did 3 classes, and you did those 3 classes twice a week.
You mean you're talking about when you're in college?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
So I would we would do like half the class and have like a break, and like I just wouldn't go back.
Right.
I just wouldn't go back in.
Broke out.
And then I would have like a friend of mine who stayed. I'd be like, hey man, just tell me what we got to do. And then I would just make sure I was okay enough to do the final exams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was it. But I was not a fan of that. So I understand. I can't even imagine. Well, if my senior year was just art and stuff like that, I mean English and math, I probably would have just knocked that out.
Yeah, it was more than that. I had like art history and math and science, and it was like all I had. Like there were
I had science.
Yeah, it was full. Yeah, it was full academic. Now, if I was smart, I would have taken one every semester. Like I would have just spaced it out, but I didn't want to do any of that. Like I'm just like, maybe when my senior year they'll forget about it or something stupid like that. That I probably thought. But when I saw my syllabus or when I saw my list of classes, I was like, nah, that's not gonna work. That is not gonna work.
So tell me about the Columbus School of Art, because I don't know anything. Like I know for me, for my experience with SCAD, I felt like it was like boot camp. Like that's how I felt like it was like boot camp for artists. Like tell me about your experience with Columbus School of Art.
Yeah, it was very well, aside from the culture shock, which was a big deal for me. It was like I felt like and this is just I'm just gonna go socially first. Like I felt like I remember the first night we were there, they showed everybody a video of like campus safety, and then they said some shit like such and such percentage of rapes happen or perpetrated by Black men or something like that. And this is the video that they're showing us. Keep in mind, I'm like the only Black guy there in like a room full. So I'm like, is this what were y'all not expecting me to be here when y'all was showing this? Like, did y'all not know I was coming? Is this what y'all just normally show people? So I was like, all right, y'all just set the tone for me for the rest of the semester. So I'm looking around, I'm like, all right. So from that point on, my mission was to find other Black people, But then I learned, and this is something I didn't know before, like just because people are Black don't mean that they're necessarily y'all on the, you feel me? You're not the same Black.
I know.
So that was also a big learning experience for me. Especially when I saw I would see the Black students I did find all they would draw was like anime and white characters. And I'd be like, bruh, I just didn't understand. I was like, and I would go through your flip book and like all your sketches, just like white people, white people, white people, white people. And I'm like, bro, we are already like, I just couldn't. I was 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. I just didn't understand that black people did stuff like that. You know what
No,
I'm
I
saying?
got you. I
So
got you.
that was a learning experience too. And that's kind of, even to this day, that's why I kind of have a, I'm kind of funny about anime. I don't really embrace it 100% because I'm kind of just like, my initial introduction to it was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, why are we going crazy over this? And y'all not even trying to flip it and make the characters look like you at all. You just going with, they not messing with us at all. Like, I didn't see any anime with any black people. Y'all, they not messing with us. So why you not messing with us too? Like, in their art form. So from that point on, I've been I give anime the side eye. I appreciate it. I recognize the dopeness and the skill level that it takes, but just the social aspects of it and the cultural aspects of it or lack thereof, for me personally, just it just kind of turned me off. And
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, and no disrespect to anybody that does, little disrespect, but not a whole lot.
Not a lot, just
not
a
a
little
lot,
bit.
not a lot, just a little bit,
Little shade.
And so that was the social aspect of it. So I was looking for my tribe. I finally found my tribe. They was avoiding me because they thought I was washed out. We used to call it washed out, but they thought I was washed out like the other ones. So we finally clicked up. So that was a lifesaver. But other than that, I did a lot of mushrooms. I did a lot of acid. I did a lot of so many drugs, man. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, so many drugs. But you got to do, like, I'm surrounded by artists, so we're all just trying to we try to go out here and we gotta get crazy or something. But I'm glad I got all that stuff out of my system. Just, I've been my mind, and I did all that, which was also a big eye opener for me now. But it's definitely still a factor in my artistic output, because when you've seen other shit, it stays with you. You know what else is possible when you've kind of let your brain float or whatever. But academically, I loved it. Ironically, I did take a class, like you said before. I went to school for film, just because I always wanted to be a filmmaker, um, but I didn't know it was attainable until I saw they had it there. So I was like, okay, I know I can draw. I don't want to go here and just do what I already know I can do. So I'm gonna go here and try something different. But back then, this is film. We're actually using film. We're like in the dark room. We're cutting, very expensive. So that took me out of the game first semester. Just the trial and error was like killing me. So I was like, okay, this is not gonna work. This is just way too expensive. So I just went back to what I could do: illustration, fine art. I even took a comic book class, and the irony of that is I didn't want to be. I had no interest in being a comic book artist at the time. So I kind of brushed that class off. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't really do a whole lot of work in it. So when I finally decide to make a comic book, I'm sitting down there like, damn, what did they say in that? Like, I'm trying to think what I was supposed to do. Like, I know I did this, but I don't remember. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to do it how I want to do it. Like, I'm just going to make this book the way I want to make it. And the irony of that is I get a lot of people to tell me, like, the book looks so unique. Doesn't look like your typical comic book. And I'm like, that's because I don't remember the typical way I was supposed to do it. So I just did it how I wanted to do it. And who's to say if it would have been better or worse if I had paid attention? But, it worked out how it's supposed to,
Yeah, I got you. I got you. It's interesting you talk about finding your tribe. Because I kind of, I went through that. I love hearing people who went to art schools, because I love the fact that there's a shared experience there that other people don't understand.
Right.
Like you even if you go to college, like your college, like a regular university college experience is it's so different than like an art school, like.
Oh yeah.
So like it's funny you talked about how like you did all the drugs and everything like that. Like I found the group of guys I found were like the almost like, how do I put it? Like, we ain't gonna be like the stereotypical art school black, kids. Like,
right.
We were like hanging out at Savannah State, we were like in our lane. We
Right.
stayed in our lane. We still were doing our art thing. Like,
Right.
we could switch that. We could code switch like a mug.
Right.
But like, we were like, all right, we're gonna play video games and watch wrestling and
Right.
and go do all the things that the other universities were doing, like going to Orange Crush and Players Ball and all the other
Yeah,
stuff. So,
absolutely. Like Ohio State was right there. You know what I'm saying?
oh
So
yeah,
when I did find my tribe, we was over there. You know what I'm saying?
oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah. So it was almost, and thinking back on it, it was almost like it was good to be with them, but at the same time, you almost had to remind yourself, like, yeah, I'm black. Like don't get caught up, because it was good to. I liken it to Higher Learning when Omar Epps was there, and it's like he finally linked up with like Ice Cube and Busta, like
yeah.
literally like that. And I was like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. I can do 4 years of this. This is better. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
exactly how I felt. That's
Yeah.
exactly how I felt. The only problem I had is in Savannah was like all the black. Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, all right. So we all knew each other and we all like hung out. And then there were like there were the black kids that was like a lot more, ingratiated with, the other culture and
Right.
and like I tried to hang out with them. Like I wasn't like I ain't gonna talk to y'all.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was so hard to connect.
yeah.
Because like you said, they were trying to be a part of a culture that I didn't want nothing to do with, or like I didn't understand, or I felt like I remember we went to a kegger, and I was just like, dude, what am I doing here? Like dudes are like upside down on a kegger, and like I just remember, like I remember it was me, because it was 3 of us that used to hang out. 4 of us used to hang out, and I remember we all looked at each other like, y'all ready to leave?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And I went to many parties like that before I found other black kids on the campus, and I was at a lot of parties like that. Like, what am I doing? But it'd be sitting in my room, sitting in the dorm room by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go out here and woo.
Nah, I ain't woo.
I ain't never
woo.
woo. I ain't doing no woos.
I ain't wooing.
I ain't woo.
I'm that dude that's sitting in the corner, like waiting for my ride to go. Like, all right, man, because I wasn't a beer drinker too. Like I really didn't drink beer. I didn't do drugs. Like I didn't do none of that. Still to this day, I still did. So like me with the rest of these dudes, it was like, you the sober dude at the party.
Okay. Yeah. I went in there. I had a little bit more Belushi in my blood, so I was
I didn't have no Belushi.
I could have fun anywhere, but I still recognize like this is so. I can't even believe this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, like I can have fun, but there reaches a certain point where it's just like, all right, y'all drunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I'm out. But so when I found the guys, then we found like that. Like when I started hanging out with them, we found a black club.
Okay.
Black club.
Right.
Singular.
Right.
In Savannah, there was like one. There was actually, let me take that back. Savannah had a black club and had a Spanish club.
Okay.
And so like I would hang out we would go, but we wouldn't really eat. Like I think maybe we went in like once or twice. But we didn't want, we were just like, this is, we just sat outside and we were just parking lot pimping. Just
it's driving
by, you know what I'm saying? But for the Spanish club, I used to go with my, my female friends, and I couldn't go with my boys because they didn't.
You got to participate in there.
That's right. Absolutely. But I'm. It's interesting hearing somebody else going through the same thing that I went through. You searching for people who you could just, okay, all right, good, we good.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with them, with your folk from college?
I don't, man. I really don't. A couple people, Facebook has you still connected to people. I talked to a few people, but not really. I don't even think I told people when I left. I just left. Like I was like, all right, y'all. I might have told my core. I had my core friends, but how time, just move apart. I moved back to Atlanta. They were still in Ohio, so.
Yeah, I hear you. Same thing. I mean, like you, I'm connected with like 2 of them, maybe 3. And I've spoken to them here and there, but
Right.
one is in Atlanta, the other is in, I think, Virginia. And
Yeah, and the sad thing is the ones I do keep in touch with don't even really do art anymore. And it's like
that's
the only one trying to escape. Like a lot of kids were there was just like, I can draw a little bit. I don't want to go to college. And their parents were like, all right, go here then. You got to go somewhere. You know, so it was people that I remember people there that was just kind of serious about drawing, but for them it was more just like an escape, you know.
well, but there's also the aspect of it where it's hard to make a career making money
It
in
is.
art.
It
You
is.
know, that's part of the reason why when I went to SCAD, I wanted to do comics when I went there. And I was just like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna make money doing this. So I switched it to 3D animation. I did the reverse of what you did. I
Right.
did 3D. I did computer art is actually what it was called at the time. Because I was just like, I don't think I can make money with this. And
Yeah.
like now, like I talk to people, the people that I do talk to from SCAD that I went with, a lot of them aren't even, like you said, aren't even in the
Yeah.
game anymore. They tapped out. I wasn't in the game when I
Right.
graduated for a minute. I was doing like menial jobs and
Yeah.
I became a project manager. And
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable. You know, it's definitely understandable. Like if I didn't come out of school, like I came right out of school and started a tattoo apprenticeship. And that was just I didn't expect I would make so much money doing that. Like it really just sustained me to the point where I never even tried to get a job in what I went to school for because I was like
really,
like I'm making art, I'm making money, making art right here. This is literally what that's the dream. That's what I wanted. I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't even have tattoos. Like I wasn't interested in getting tattoos, nothing like that. I think I tattooed like a whole year before I even got my first tattoo because I just thought, I mean, I'm an artist. I have tattoos. Why do I have to have tattoos? The wrong way to look at it because if you're a tattoo artist and you're inflicting pain on people, you should know what that pain feels like. And so you can have a little empathy for what they're going through. I'm just tatting, like ripping hard, like you good? Like we got 2 more hours, you good? But now when I got one, I'm like, okay, you need a break, you need some water, you want to take a, you know what I'm saying? You need to sit up for a minute. Um, so yeah, that tattoo apprentice that apprentice definitely saved my life. Not saved my life, but it put me on a road where I could support myself, eventually support my family, still make art. You know, while still constantly making art every day for people. And so yeah, thank God for tattooing. Even though I got out towards the end of pretty much realizing other people's desires, like and realizing the first dumb thing somebody might think of, I had to bring that to life. And I just got to a point where I felt like it was finishing my own creativity. And I was like, I feel like I was wasting it. So and then I really got serious about DayBlack. And that's when
okay,
I was like, okay, and it's probably just time to chill. And plus the shop I was working at was super hood. Like I'm ducking bullets with my customers to the point where my customers are like not even coming to the shop no more. But when it got to that point, I was like, okay, my money's not even coming up here no more.
right.
I'm in danger daily just from being up there. It was cool when I was in my 20s. When I got to my 30s, 40s, I was like, yo, this ain't working no more. You know,
Hey, you've watched my show before. Did you hear my tattoo story?
I didn't. Nah,
Okay,
what was
so I tell you my quick tattoo story. Then we'll start talking about DayBlack.
it? Mhm.
This ironically, I was at SCAD. I had found it was called the Proto Tribe. Like
Mhm.
it was a group of black people that I met like the first night. Like we had just kind of like happened upon each other. Like it was me and this other guy named Alex. Shout out Alex. I haven't talked to Alex in a decade, in a long time.
Okay.
Lisa and oh man, I forgot the other girl's name. Anyway, we had kind of met at the mixer. You know what I mean? Like we just found each other, and then we were chilling. And the next day it was the next day. I think it was the next day we were chilling in the room in the girls' rooms because they were roommates. And I don't know, we weren't drinking. There was no alcohol, no drugs, no nothing. Somebody was just like, we should get tattoos,
Mm.
and everybody was like, hell yeah, let's get tattoos. And I was like, sure. And so
Right. Okay.
we one of the girls had a car, so we drove down. We found one that was open. It was late too. It was real late. So there was 3 tattoo artists and 4 of us. So I let the 3 of them go, and like I'm watching them, like all that, like I'm just sitting there, like,
right.
and so like when they finished, they're like, "Oh, Javon, it's your turn." And I was like, "Dog, I forgot my wallet." Man, listen, I'm gonna come back later. And they're like, "You come back?" Yeah, I'm gonna come back later. Never came back. Never to this day. I was like, nope.
I've seen that play times.
And then once, so I know one of them, he wasn't happy. He got like a tramp stamp. To this day, I was wondering what he was doing. Like he got the small of his back.
Oh, okay.
What did he got it. He got that's how vividly I recall it. I'm very good when it comes to this stuff.
Right.
He got like a yin yang symbol.
Okay.
At the small of his back. My friend Lisa, she got paw prints right above her crotch.
Right.
And the other girl, I think she got a tattoo like on her foot.
Ouch.
It was either her foot or shoulder. I can't remember what she got though.
Okay, I would say all those places are very tender spots too.
I believe it. Yeah. I was gonna get a lion, and I was gonna get it right here. But like as I'm watching them, and in my mind, I'm like, dude, you're gonna get this tattoo, and you're gonna be like a week later, like, what the hell did you do? I was like,
right.
So yeah. I and to this day, I have no tattoos. Is not really for me. You know, my wife is more G than me. She got 2.
I was gonna say the irony of that is there was a time where people got tattoos to be individuals and to kind of stand out. But now it's like if you don't have tattoos, you're actually more unique today. You know what I'm saying? Bare skin to me is like, wow, you got no tattoo? That's amazing.
None. You know? I to this day, I was thinking about. I remember that night vividly. Like, dog, that looked like it hurt.
It does, man. It does. Don't let nobody tell you it don't.
And the crazy part, we got in there, if I recall, so I was like, man, I forgot my wallet. And we got in the car, we were hungry, we went to go get food. And I was like, yeah, let me Yo, they looked at me like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it. No, yeah, in my Dave Chappelle voice, I was like, nah, I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
Right, I'm cool.
All right. Hey, let me answer. We got a couple questions. First question from Kevin got 2. First question is, where's Jamari? Jamari's doing some things, and he won't be here for a while. So we calling this a hiatus. He is not off the show, but we are calling it a hiatus. It might be for a while, but you know, he might pop in from time to time. And then a question for you: do you have a name for your style of art since yours is so unique?
Man, I call it cross hatching.
Okay.
If anybody what cross hatching is, it's a style of pen and ink that you cross over. And I don't really call it that. I just figured that's something cool to say right now since he asked. But I call it, since my last name is Cross, I just call them cross hatchings. And but as far as a style or I don't know, man. I hate the term black art. That's what a lot of people describe it as. Oh, you do that black art. I was like, well, what else would I do? But yeah, I do that black art. Everybody I draw is black, if that's what you mean. So, yeah.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a name for it, man. I have this style, the pen and ink style. I have the color fine artwork. I just call it art, man. This is my children's book, simple style. I got a few styles, I definitely have more than one style I like to use. But
I love this, man. Like I was like, oh, you got a children's book? Let me find out.
It's coming. We're working on it.
All right, man. Let me know.
Yeah.
All right. We got another question. What are your favorite graphic novels, comics?
Man, well, my favorite graphic novel is ElfQuest. That's my favorite. That's probably the most influential book to me, storytelling wise and art wise, was ElfQuest by Richard and Wendy Pini. Mike Mignola, huge influence. Hellboy, anything that he did, huge influence on me as an artist. But I was also into mostly a lot of the '70s underground comics, like
I can see
Robert
that.
Crumb, Harvey Pekar, Ralph Bakshi.
Okay.
All of that stuff is what really molded the aesthetic that I like to use when I create. Just kind of like raunchiness mixed with social commentary mixed with violence. It's just a mix that I like. But also, but you know, there's a reason for that. Like my father was a strip club owner when I was a kid, so I grew up in an element, you know what I'm saying, that was definitely influential to my outlook on things. So when I finally decided to create, you know, that's why DayBlack, in my opinion, is it's kind of for subculture, the subculture life that's out there. But yeah, not to I tend to ramble, you know, so I gotta
No,
kind of
you good? I'm just listening,
tight.
man.
Yeah, so
Now, do you? Now,
Tommy,
I see a lot of Brian Steel Freeze.
whew, that's a compliment right there, man.
I see a little bit.
That,
I see a little bit of Brian in your art. Am I wrong? Because
I'll
I don't
take
want to.
nah, I'll take it. I will take that all day.
I don't want to say, hey, this is what because I remember I saw on Twitter somebody was saying that like they get offended if somebody says, well, your artwork looks like you were influenced by such and such and it wasn't.
Nah, I mean, I think people may get offended if they think that they really just originated something. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is really originating anything. Like you could take your favorite artist and look and see where. Well, I'm not even gonna say that because you look at somebody like even Kendrick Lamar, for example. You would think he is so influenced by so many artists from the '90s or so many hip hop. Like he just gotta love them, but he don't really. He's young. Like he wasn't listening to that stuff, but it still came out. You know what I'm saying? But I would never be offended if somebody like you said Brian Stelfreeze, like that's the ultimate compliment to me. Like, I've never even heard somebody say that, but now that you mention it, I can see how somebody would think that. You know,
It's your portraits. Your portraits have that. When I see his, like, it's an angular look to it. Sometimes he does it, but like yours, obviously, it's the cross hatching, and he's doing like painting.
right? But he
Yeah.
is
So
with the line, but he does hatching in a way too. It's just
right.
more painterly style. Man, he's so
Okay.
dope. He is so
Yeah, dude. He's such a nice dude. He's such a nice guy, man. He's
he's
such a
so
nice guy.
cool, and I love when I meet creators and they be cool. Like I met Mike Mignola one time, and he was a jerk. He was a big jerk to me, man. And I was like, it messed me up on him. I have not read nothing by him since, just from how he used
What?
to be at this con. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side, I'll give him this though, because I wasn't doing cons or anything back then. Having done them and realizing now that he could have been tired because I was in a long line of people to meet him. So when I finally got to him, he was just like. So now when I look back at it, I'm like, okay, he probably just had a rough day, and I was just like geeked to see him, and he wasn't geek no more. He might not ever been geek, but he really wasn't geek by the time I got there.
Yeah,
So I ain't
I
bad.
get that.
Like I ain't bad. I'm gonna go ahead and read something new, man. I'm gonna let that grudge go.
Honestly, like I'm with you. Like I totally get it. I totally understand. Like you know, luckily I haven't met anybody who I idolize who has been like a jerk.
Mm.
Like I'm really concerned about that. Like I would love to meet Todd McFarlane. I would be heartbroken if he was a jerk.
I feel like it's a high probability he would be. I don't know why, but or really,
I,
like, I mean, I don't know. He seems like he could be.
he
He seems
seems
like he could
cool.
go either way. He seems like he could go either way. You know,
But like when I met Still Freeze, you know, he's been he's cool with me every time I see him. Like you know, I've been fortunate enough to see him a few times. Who else did I meet that? Daryl Banks. Daryl Banks, I've been a fan of his art for so long. And so
Daryl.
when I finally meet him, Green Lantern.
Oh, okay. Oh, hell yeah. And the what's the girl's name? The girl Green Lantern, the black girl that they have now.
Oh,
Is
no,
that the same
different. That's a
artist?
different person. That's a different
But is
person.
that the same artist?
No. I
Okay.
know who you're talking about. No, he did Kyle Rayner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Daryl's, he's awesome. I'm trying to think who else that I met that's been like really cool. Like, but I'm with you. Like I've had like instances where I said what's up to Donnie Cates in passing,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Yeah, I can't really talk. I gotta go."
Right.
And like you could take it that way, but then once you're in the game, you realize these dudes are moving. They got to go to like four
Right.
different panels and everything.
Right.
So it's interesting to hear, like, when you your perspective flips.
Absolutely.
Once you get into the industry and you know what it's like when you're sitting at a table for like 8 hours.
Saying the same thing to a million
Bruh,
people in a row, and they
bruh.
make, especially the people that talk your ear off and don't do nothing, don't get nothing. I'd be like, meanwhile, people are walking by your table like, but you're talking, engaging, and they be like, all right, then, you got a card?
Lately, what I've been doing to single out the people who actually gonna buy from the people who ain't. Like, there are times where like I'm okay to talk. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they ain't doing nothing, I'll talk.
Right.
But I usually, because the people that'll come and they'll talk to you and they'll like flip through your book, but they're like reading the entire.
Yeah, like, bro, you want to?
They're like trying to read the whole thing. So
Good
usually,
on that.
like, I let you get maybe like 5 or 6 pages through a flip it, and then I'm
Right.
like, so yeah, these are 10, these are 10, these are
Right.
20, and they just be like,
So, hey, hold on.
they just put it down, and it was like, oh, okay, you weren't buying nothing. But
Right.
it's always funny, bro. That's my kryptonite. Have a whole story to take it. I don't do cards no more, y'all. I don't do cards on my table. I have the little QR code. You
Oh yeah.
scan the QR code. If I'm gonna do cards, I'm giving them to professionals. I'm not doing cards no more. Not to like them things be on. I told this story today, last weekend. I did cards for a while, and then as I was leaving the con one day, I saw like 2 or 3 on the floor, and I
Nobody's
was just
open
like,
anymore.
nope, I'm not wasting my money.
If I do, I put flyers in the book, like they don't even know what's in there. Then at least it gets home. But I got so many. That's the thing. I got so many flyers, like back flyers, that I just have that I like try to get them off at any con. Like, here, just have this.
Now I'm starting to do like a flyer in the book.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and not like a flyer in the book, but like just
yeah,
like a market, like a promo that's like the back cover.
yeah, absolutely. The QR code and everything.
Yeah. I the less stuff, I'm trying not to give people stuff. They ain't gonna keep it. Now, if you want to, do the QR code, then you come back to it. That's fine. That's on you.
Right.
X-Force #8 has my favorite Mike Mignola art. I mean, he's a beast, man. He's a monster.
The beast, man. I mean, just how he works, just how he does with how he works with shadows so well, and he makes things look very simple, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just in awe of it. So
Go read his books, man. He was having a bad day.
I'm gonna read it, man.
He was
I'm
having a
gonna
bad day.
I'm gonna let that go, man.
He had a rough day. He was he had like 100. There was some of the all, like, I can totally see that. Like Chris Claremont's lines, they'd be so long,
I bet,
I
man.
know for a fact I don't go through that. If I had to go through that, I'd probably be through like
And I'm standing there,
Friday.
like thinking, like, all right, I'm gonna ask him this, or what about what you do with this issue? Like, I really was like, had my questions lined up, but his body language, his look on his face, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to ask him one question. Like, he's
That
ready.
man probably signed like 150 signatures before
So
he saw you.
I learned a lesson that day, man. I went to see him. Like, that was the only reason I went. I don't even remember what it was, but it's all good. Having been on the other side, I get it.
I honestly, I want to go to a NYC, New York Comic Con this weekend, in 2 weeks, because I want to meet Jim Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to meet Jim Lee, but I know I'm not going to be able to meet him if I just go stand in line. Right. Or like, I don't want to waste my entire day standing in line to see Jim Lee.
Right.
So, because we in the industry, I'm trying to find out where the party's at, or where the bar con at. and
Exactly.
hopefully he goes to the BarCon,
Exactly.
and I'll go talk to him.
Seems like he'll be swamped there too. Like, you got to just go home. Like, you too big, man. Jim Lee on the night of the town with a comic at New York Comic Con. Oh yeah, he's gonna have
Dude,
like nerd paparazzi. Yeah.
I got to meet. I'm a huge Mark Waid fan.
Mhm.
Huge Mark Waid fan. I
Okay.
read anything that man put out, and like at Baltimore, I kept like walking to see if he was at his table, and like every time I go, be back in 20 minutes. All right, I gotta go back to my table. Be back. Da, 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 da. So it was like the end of the con. I was just like, screw it. I'm stand here, wait for this dude. But he was there. He was there. He was the nicest dude to me. Like
That's good.
go see Mike again, man. Just tell him that story. I bet you get you'll get a warmer reaction.
I know, right? He seems cool, man.
All right, so tell us about DayBlack. Now you in comics. You one of your biggest success stories is your book DayBlack. Hold on, we'll answer your question in a minute, Kevin. But we're gonna talk about. Hold on, why won't it show up? There we go. DayBlack. Tell us about DayBlack. Give us the elevator pitch.
Yeah. Okay. So, so DayBlack, it's a story of an enslaved man who was bitten by a vampire in the cotton fields. Fast forward to present day, he works as a tattoo artist as a way to collect blood, and he has a tattoo machine that he rigged to where it sucks blood as it gives ink. So he's able to feed on people daily, send them back on their way, come back, do it again. He still is making money, but he's not killing the client, so he's able to sustain a business. All the time, he lives in this town where the sky is so dense with pollution it blocks out the sun. So he's able to walk around day or night. Hence the name DayBlack. And his whole thing is he's been a vampire since he was a slave. He was turned as a slave, but those hundreds of years he worked different professions. He was an astronaut. He was an assassin. He was a mechanic. Anything you could think of, he just did a lot of things just to keep life interesting. So he settled on being a tattoo artist now, and he's just really protective of this town because he knows that if other vampires found a place where you could just walk around day or night, they would just overrun it. So he kind of just likes to lay under the radar and just kind of peacefully coexist. Um, where we're at now, and that's volume one, volume two that have already been out. The current book now that I have the Kickstarter for is called DayBlack Reparations, and it's focusing on his mother, who you see right here. Her name is LaRue, who is the vampire that bit him originally in the cotton fields. So throughout
Mother bit him?
His mother bit him, yeah.
Wow.
So throughout volume one and volume two, she's presented as the villain or just the person that's responsible for the issues he's having in his life right now, making him have narcolepsy, blacking out at random moments, having these really bizarre dreams and flashbacks of his past. She's trying to get his attention, and that's the only way she knows how to do it. So she's perceived to the viewer as the antagonist for him. This DayBlack Reparations is basically going into her origin story, showing what she went through to make her the way that she is, and really just one of those things where people are perceived as a villain until you see what they went through, and then they're more relatable. She really went through some stuff, and this was all before she was even turned into a vampire. So this issue is just part one of a two-part little showcase I'm doing on her, because the finale is going to be really big, and probably I'm scared to even start working on it. It's so big. It's probably the most ambitious thing I've ever written and drew. So with this book, it was definitely a challenge because, for one, this was around the time I just parted ways with my publisher. Um, I had just had a kidney transplant. I was home during COVID on bed rest. Couldn't go to the art supply store. I had an iPad, so I was like, let me teach myself how to draw digitally. And that was, and this was during a time where I wasn't even sure if I was going to go back to comics. I mean, you always know those indie comics that you really like, and then all of a sudden they just disappear off the face of the earth, and you never see it again. Like, I was like, I don't want to be that guy. I feel like that guy right now until the day I launched the Kickstarter. Like literally, I was like, "Oh yeah, we remember Keith. Damn, DayBlack was tight. What happened to him?" So I feel like I'm in that space right now. So just for me to and you know, I was on a recovery. I wasn't sure. My hands weren't working right. My mind, my confidence level was low. I wasn't with a publisher. That was messing with my confidence right there. So when I finally started to pick up the pen and kind of revamp my style, that's when I kind of got reinvigorated again. You know what I'm saying? Because I really found um, a new lane that I hadn't really explored yet, and I was killing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, I was killing it, and it just gave me all new hope. You know what I'm saying? Like I could say, like Apple, they really saved my artistic life with that iPad and Procreate, and and it sounds cliche, but it's literally the best work I've ever done. Like people always say their newest project, oh, this is the best thing I've ever done. It's like people are like, oh, it ain't no Illmatic, but you know, it's the best thing I've ever done. Like you may have loved that, but this is the best thing I've done that's fulfilling me artistically. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, this is fly, man. This I just dated myself with that. Yes, I know I'm old, yo. This is awesome, dude. Like,
thank you, man.
I love different stuff. Like, I love. I hate when comics tries to when comics homogenizes itself, when everybody's artwork is trying to look like everybody else's. I love seeing artwork that doesn't look like anything else that's out there.
Thank you.
And this is like friggin' amazing, dude. Like,
Well,
I
I think I look at it like because I look at it like less than a comic book and more of like a piece of art. Like when I'm creating it, I feel like I'm making a piece of art to present. I'm not
right.
necessarily looking at it like, even though it is a comic book and even though it does have issues, I approach it like I want each of my images to be able to stand on their own. Like if you wanted to put this on a wall, you could. You know what I'm saying? And which is also another goal of mine. Once this Kickstarter is funded, is I wanted to put an art show in that's gonna have all of the pages blown up like canvas size with no lettering, with no type or anything. So it's just gonna tell the story without any words for people to look at visually. Because I also like to be able to, you can flip through the book and kind of tell what's happening without words. I'm really big on visual storytelling with no words. So the goal for this art show is to have that all my pieces up on the wall. People look at it for what they are, put their own conclusion together. Then at the end of the show, here's the book. Now you could actually read the show that you just saw and just see how close you were. You know. So that's the next goal after this is funded.
I mean, this is amazing, man. I honestly I'm jealous as hell. Like, I'm just like, damn,
Jealous.
why couldn't I figure out? Why couldn't I do art like that? God, no, like, like this is freaking amazing, dude. I'm telling you, because I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why is because I know when I look at my artwork, I don't think it looks like anything else that's out there, and I've been told by other artists like, Marvel isn't really going, hit with this because it don't look like this, and so when I see other people's, it's like this is amazing, dude. Like this is amazing. Like this looks like you could just hang it up right now, man. You just plop it up right now, and you could literally do a whole show on this, man. This is a whole art show with this artwork, and it's so expressionist too. Like you're still very good. You're still a very good storyteller, but it's done in such a different way. Like I'm pretty sure you stand out at any con that you're at.
I do. And I'll say that cover to the cover to volume 1, that image right there is
This one?
No, the red one. If you go to the
here,
yeah, that one on the left with Merce, the main character Merce, like that cover right there is the most important thing I've ever drawn, because that cover, I've seen people look from across the room just at that bright red book, and it just lures people over, and it makes them want to pick it up. And once they pick it up and flip through it, it's usually over after that point. So, but my one of my teachers taught me that. They was like, they made a great point with, like, say Blockbuster, for example. at Blockbuster, you remember they used to just have movies like new releases. People used to stand in line for these new releases, and some of the movies you never heard of.
Right.
But it's that cover art. Like they'll say it's not even like their marketing team will be like, we don't care what the movie's about. What's the cover art look like? Because the cover art is gonna make people pick it up and buy it. And then they figure out if it's good or not later. But that cover is gonna get them. And I'll say this about covers, man. And this is one reason that I kind of fell off from collecting comics for a while. Like when I went to college, I really fell off on comics because, for one, there was only one comic shop around, and they would never let you open up any of the books first, right? So it was around a time where cover artists were not the same people that were drawing the interiors, and that was throwing me off because I would love the cover, and I come home and the art be like. So it kept happening, and this comic book store would not let us open the books for nothing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good, man. I'm gonna chill on these comics for a while. I'm straight. Then I just fell off for like years, and then once I started, and the irony is, once I started my comic, I started to get back into wanting to collect again. But now when I'm trying to read these comics, I'm like, I got my own comic to do. I can't be reading this shit. I gotta do my own. Like, how am I sitting here reading this comic book and I still have a whole book to write? You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing being in the business. It is a sacrifice, you know. But at the same time, I do still try to read some because you still want to know what's out there. You still want to know what the what the temperature is, you know, just for the industry in general. So I got a couple books that I try to keep up with. Like the most recent one I bought was the Gargoyle of Gotham.
Can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me
No,
now?
I can't hear you now. Yep. I didn't hear that. The one what did you just read? You said
the latest
what?
book I just got is Batman Gargoyle of Gotham. And it's by
I think
Raphael.
I heard that.
Yeah, it's by Raphael Grumpa. One of my
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the art has to excite me. Like I can't read it if the art's not good. So his art is incredible. So looking forward to finishing that series. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, covers that one of what you just said is one of the reasons why I don't do a ton of variant covers from my books. Because I don't want somebody to shut up, Kyron. I don't want people to look at the cover and be like, oh, that's Marcus Williams on the cover, and then they open it in his mind. You know, not that I don't think I'm as good as Marcus or whatever, but I think that it's too much of a shift in what you're seeing from the start to the from the cover to the art.
Yeah.
And I used to just like you, I used to hate that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, dude, I'm gonna do my cover. Like the artwork you see on my cover is in the book. Like that's
I'm strongly against that, man. And even
I'm
with
not against it.
I mean, I'm not
gonna say
I'm against it, but it can be because sometimes it's good. Like sometimes the artwork on the cover and you open it up and the art is still good. I feel like this shouldn't be a drastic change. Like what the heck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't go from Alex Ross to, stick figures when you open a book, So yeah, I'm not against it. It's just it just took some getting used to, but even with my variants, like I drew all my own variant covers. Like I don't even know if that's done. I did like 3 of my own variant covers, just because I didn't really. I don't know. It was hard for me. For artists, I tried to collaborate with some other artists, but I found out that even though you have artists that you like, sometimes what you need for them to do might not work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that can be awkward. So it was hard for me to reach out to the artists that I would like to do it because I was afraid I wasn't going to like it. And then I would have to tell them I didn't like it. Or I wouldn't tell them and just go ahead and run it and always not
go ahead and run it.
So I'm like, let me go ahead for this first time and go ahead and knock out all of these variants myself. But what's cool is I just had an artist reach out to me and was like offer to do one for free. He's actually a pro. Brian, I can't think of his name. He's probably not watching this good. But that's going to be one you're going to see soon. So hopefully, people reach out like, hey, but.
Kyron, I don't hate variants. I'm just saying for me, like, it's just, I like for what my books to be representative, with the cover to be representative of the artwork inside. I'm actually going to start doing some variants for some of my books. So, if y'all interested, I would definitely holler at you. But like when I'm doing like my Heat books, you know, because I also know, just like you, like when people see that cover across the room, like I get that a lot too. Like I get the people who walk by and they'll see my book and they'll slow down and everything like that.
Right.
And so I know they're slowing down for my artwork.
Right.
Whereas if I feel like if I got like a variant, they're not slowing down for my artwork. They're slowing down for somebody else's artwork.
Right. Right.
So, shut up, Kyron. Y'all, listen, I'm not showing these comments because these fools are they're being foolish in the chat. But
being foolish.
fools are being foolish. Kevin did have an interesting question for both of us. Is there an artist you ever want to meet, or you ever met or want to meet that you think would make you nervous or a kid again?
Man, look. I was talking about ElfQuest earlier. I don't know if any people are familiar with ElfQuest, but it's a major.
I know ElfQuest. I got a couple copies here. Copies.
All right, cool. So I was at a con. I was on the bill, same bill as Wendy and Richard Penny and Ralph Bakshi, which I was jazzed. I had a flyer with my names with all of them on it. I was so over the moon about that. So they were there, and I was finally waiting for a chance to meet them. I think I was downstairs, right above me, and when it finally died down on the last day, I went up there, and there was a little line of maybe about 5 or 6 people. So I'm standing in line, like looking at them, and they seem nice and everything. I'm like, all right, cool. I finally get up there, and it's my turn. My hands start shaking. My lips start trembling. I don't know where these tears came from, but I burst. Like Ghostface, tears burst out my wig, man. And out of nowhere, like I'm standing in line fine, but as soon as it was my turn to speak to 2 of the people that literally like put the battery in my back creatively, I couldn't do it, man. I broke down. Like they had to get up from around their table and like, you okay? Like hug, like, my big ass would be like crying. They like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, man. Y'all did so much for me. Y'all mean so much. So, influences or something, man. Like you take them at face value sometimes, but just it was like staring into the sun, man. When I got that close to them, it was like my life flashed back in front of my eyes creatively, and so like for that reason alone. But luckily, there's nobody else I think that could have that effect on me. So I was at first, I'm not gonna meet nobody else because I didn't expect this to happen. But for them, it was like a double whammy because his writing, it's a husband and wife duo. So his writing, I loved it. Her artwork, I loved it. So it was just too much at once, And the good thing is, I gave them a copy of the book, and they reviewed it on their website, and they gave me so much love. That was awesome. That was awesome.
You wouldn't be able to tell me nothing, man.
Yeah, man.
Let me see. I would say Todd McFarlane. I don't know if I ain't gonna cry.
You did?
No. I'm saying I want to meet him. Like,
okay.
Todd has always been a mentor in my head. I've told this story a bunch of times how I was doing Heat for a while. And I got burned out right when COVID hit. Mm-hmm. Like, and I was like, dude, I just can't do this anymore. Like I wasn't feeling it anymore. So I actually started doing another book, my other book, Strong. Mm-hmm. And while I'm doing Strong, and I had done almost the entire book of Strong. Like I had drawn it and flatted almost the entire book. And I just started watching a documentary with Todd McFarlane in it. And when he talks, I sit up. I'm like, all right. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, he said what he did with Spawn. He realized he had to give all his energy to Spawn. Like he could have done like 100 other books, but he had to make Spawn the absolute best. And I was like, yeah, dang it. All right. And I literally put Strong away and went back to doing Heat.
Right.
Like immediately.
Right.
But what I did is I kind of learned that I had to pace myself, and like I was trying to draw so fast, excuse me, and I wasn't dealing with the quality. Like I like my first few books, I like them, but it was like my next few books, like you said, how your last one is the best you ever did. Right. That's how I feel about the last 2 books. Like those, I stepped up my game.
Yeah.
So Todd, and when I met again, Dennis Cohen and Christopher Priest have both had an amazing influence on my life. And Mark Waid. Those are the three that I met that I was legit like nervous. And for Dennis, I was sitting next to him for an entire weekend. So it was like eventually like I chilled out. And then Christopher Priest, I met. Oh, the first time I met Christopher Priest was like right when the Black Panther movie dropped.
Okay.
And he was at the height of his like da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And like I went over to him. I was so nervous. This man said, "Hey man, come on, sit down. Sit down next to me. Come here, man." And he let me come sit around the table, and he sat and he talked with me for a little bit. And like, so I was in my head, I'm like, but I'm trying to be cool,
right.
And then like I said about Mark Waid, that was like, again, in my head, like if I'm meeting these people, I'm trying to be cool, but in my head, I'm like one loud, continuous scream. Right. It's like going on, like,
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
But it's always nice to get to meet people. Like the only person that there's two people I won't be able to meet, Stan Lee, obviously, and Dwayne McDuffie. Those two that I wish I had gotten an opportunity to meet that I didn't.
Yes.
Danny said I back reparations without looking at the description. Danny, you can't come to the show late. Can't come to the show late and be like, can you, backtrack and tell us some other stuff. So talk to us about you got option.
Yeah, we did get option. So
how'd that happen? How did all that, how'd you get into that? Because I'm dying to find out how to do that.
Yeah, right. So it was through a Facebook friend of mine, Durante Avaloy. He has an animation company here in Atlanta called Avaloy Studios. And at the time, we had been Facebook friends for years, but never met, never even spoke before. But he reached out and was like, "Hey, I got some grant money from Toon Boom, and they want me to find some IPs so we could develop something." So I was like, "All right, how much is it gonna be?" He was like, "No, it ain't gonna be." I'm like, "Run it, let's do it, man." So we were and for a while, and for I think a couple of years ago, we made a sizzle reel to the point where he was going to animate it at one point, but he decided that like it was going to be a little too ambitious. So we figured let's try to shop it around to a bigger studio. So we ended up shopping it around and came across this company called Trioscope, also stationed in Atlanta. At the time, they had, or even currently, they have a movie or a series on Netflix called The Liberator. And it's basically talking about the Native American experience in World War II, I think it was. And very good. If anybody hasn't seen it, check it out. It's called The Liberator. And it's done in a style called Trioscope, where they shoot everything in live action and they go back and they paint or animate on top of that. So they use real actors, but just in a different style they call Trioscope. You've probably seen it in like, I don't know if you've seen Waking Life or A Scanner Darkly or Undone. There was a series on Undone with the girl that played Lita Battle Angel. So something similar to that. So so I signed a production deal with them. They in turn got us the deal. I keep saying us, but got me the deal with CBS. And at first I was thinking CBS. Like when I think of CBS, I just think of like Murder She Wrote and like like stuff that like.
I know, me too.
The channel my grandmother watches, right?
Right.
But come to find out, they own many other streaming services, many other media outlets. So when I found out who they actually kind of are with, I'm like, oh, okay. So, but it's also one of them things where you get optioned, it's amazing, you're happy, but then it's like you hurry up and wait. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of pitch meetings. We do have a showrunner. A lot of pitch meetings. Hulu, Netflix, AMC, you name it. We talk to them. I've learned that a lot of times people will like your stuff, but if it doesn't fit the certain program and they're trying to do at the time, like they can't do it. Like for instance, when we pitched to AMC, they were like, we love it, but we have something similar that's coming out. Months later, Interview with a Vampire came out, and this is the one with the black version, and he was literally so close to Merce, and like his experience, like I totally see why because this will be like too close. So
Yeah.
I learned to not take it personal. A lot of stuff is due to, say for instance, comedies are easier to sell than dramas. So when me and my showrunner were writing the pilot, we had to punch up the humor just a little bit. And it's okay. Like I'm down with I'm not one of those creators like so staunch that like I'm not willing to bend. Like, nah, like if it's not like really damaging the integrity of the story, then I'm fine with it. And there is some humor in DayBlack. You know, like the second volume, I have a whole issue or a portion of the issue dedicated to a guy called the Saggy Sniper, who was just sniping guys in the butts. They had their butts hanging from their pants sagging. But the reason is because he was a belt maker and nobody was buying his belts. And so he decided to make it a threat, so everybody started buying his belts and like wearing their pants tight so they didn't get shot in the ass. So I do have humor in the book. So to punch up the humor for the pilot wasn't that big of a stretch. So I'm just learning it's all about compromise and patience. We had some good news earlier this year, but then right when we found it out, the writers' strike hit. Then the strike hit. That put everything at a standstill. So right now we're just kind of just like waiting to see what's going to happen. The great thing is I have a team of people, which is an incredible feeling when you have a team of people that are really working towards your vision and like coming to work with your book on their schedule of things to do and to work on, you know.
Right.
So people that are also passionate about it. But at the same time, I always keep in my mind, like Dave Chappelle made the analogy, like he was at a room full of people and he's like, I don't know none of these people. Like they could just be saying whatever to get what they want. Everybody wants something from you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's doing this out of the kindness of their heart. So I balance that that optimism and gratefulness I have with a cautious, like I know the business, how I know how this could go. Like y'all don't know me, I don't know y'all, but you know, so that's what, you know, I think it's good to have a healthy little bit of paranoia in your mix when it comes to stuff like that, and especially when it comes to stuff that you own that people want a piece of. So but yeah, that's where we stand right now. I would want to say names. It's one of those things like, you know, people are attached to it, major people that are interested in it, but it's like you don't want to say nothing. Nobody tells you to say nothing, but I don't want to say. I'm the type of person where I don't want to say. That's why I don't even really talk about it that much unless there's something really to talk about. Because I'm like, all right, if it's gonna fail, I like to fail in silence. All right, I don't want to fail. I want to fail quietly. Like I just forget that happened. Forget I said that away real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Like so, yeah, they'd be like, you were optioned. Was I really?
Right? Yeah. Did I say that? Yeah.
Really?
So,
no.
Exactly.
No idea what you're talking about.
So you know, I know people that have been optioned before and nothing came from it, or they have bad stories from it. So I'm not there yet, but I brace myself for it. I'm always bracing myself for it because sometimes it feels too good to be true. Being that DayBlack isn't a huge, like it's not well known like that, I have less say.
Right.
Ultimately, in the end, I'll have less say. Right now, it's like everybody wants my input. Like I'm in the writer's room. I'm writing the Bible on it. Like I'm totally hands on. But I recognize there may come a time where I might lose some of that power because nobody's heard of DayBlack. I don't really have a lot of leverage to stand on in that sense, other than people that are just passionate about it, that love it, that think it's going to be huge, you know? So, yeah, that was a long answer, but yeah.
No, listen, hey man, this the point of the show is for me to allow you guys the opportunity to talk and tell your story and share your successes, your failures, wherever, you know.
Yeah, and that's why it was so important. I'm going to continue what I was going to say.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why it was important because DayBlack originally was a film script that I wrote, that I kind of had an idea for when I was in school, when I wanted to be a filmmaker. That didn't happen, so I turned the script into basically the comic book. But it was always my intention to make DayBlack a film. Like I know some people like don't make comics just to be films. Like my sole purpose of creating DayBlack was for it to eventually be a film. I just looked at it as one big screenplay with thumbnail sketches. You know, that's what I pretty much was approaching it as. Because being a comic book artist, in my opinion, and that's why I have so much respect for them, is just to be, or not respect for them, but respect for the art form in general, because the discipline that it takes. You know what I'm saying? Just the tenaciousness of having to meet deadlines, to fund out of your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that I knew of, and that's something that I was always kind of scared to do. But when you get something that's your own and it's your own property, and people love it, and people are telling you love it, it kind of gets its own meaning in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it becomes less about making it for yourself. It becomes more about serving the people that are supporting you and like giving them something. So, and even that's cliche. I do it for the fans, but it's true. You do it for the fans, because those are the people that you don't know will support you sometimes more than your family will, or more than people that
Absolutely.
do know you. You know, so
Absolutely.
you at least owe it to them to, give them something good, or at least finish what you started. At least that's how I look at it. Like, I know DayBlack probably has maybe 2 or 3 more issues in it, because I'm ready to move on. I've been working on this book since I was in my 20s. I'm 46 now. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the stuff that I wrote back then, I don't necessarily feel the same way now. So
Right,
I
right.
find myself doing a lot of retconning when I write now. Like, I don't feel the same way I felt when I was 25. So I have other books that I want to do, but like you said, I have to finish this one first. Like, I have to finish this. I can't just start a new book in the whole and just forget about this one. So, whew, that was a mouthful.
That's all right, man. Man, listen, I'm not gonna hold you. I trust me, I've enjoyed this conversation.
Me too,
But
man.
I got work to do, unfortunately.
All right,
I gotta go
man.
draw. But this is definitely cool. I am gonna look into do my best to support the Kickstarter. I had to back off doing Kickstarters, man, because I forget that I do them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Kickstarter will be over, and then out of nowhere they just snatch that money out of your account. And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, hold on,
Yeah,
wait a minute."
right.
Like, I needed that.
Right.
So I had to be like, "All right, let me take a break." But this is amazing. I will continue to support. If you need me to share, whatever. If you want to come back on Top 5 Live, yes, Keith is on Facebook, right?
Yep. Facebook,
Uh,
Instagram, everything is KEEF CROSS.
Yeah, so follow the man, support the Kickstarter. Let's get it over the line. You've got more than a month. You got about a month, right?
I got about 28 days left. I'm already 40% funded, so that's cool.
And if you about that life, write some letters to CBS. Tell them to get this thing made.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Or at least donate my Kickstarter in the meanwhile.
Yeah, do that. Definitely do that too. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. And hopefully our paths cross in person. I don't do. Are you going to be at any cons coming up? You want to let the people know where you're going to be?
I'll be in Multiverse at Multiverse Con on I believe the 22nd or so. If you go to my page, I just posted a flyer for it.
20th.
Yeah. So I'll be there that weekend, and the only thing I have on my schedule is Schaumburg, because that's gonna just be like a holiday destination. That's gonna be like Christmas and Halloween and Thanksgiving. That's just gonna be a holiday that I don't miss every year.
I was trying to get into the Schaumburg last year. So my understanding is it is heavily what's the word? They it's not like first come first serve. They basically invite people. So,
yeah, they invite you. And the funny thing about that is I was trying to go for years before I knew that. And I finally reached out to somebody who told me, somebody gave me an inside person to talk to. So I finally reached out to them, and they were like, "Oh, we thought you already was here. Like, we thought you already been here." And I'm like, "No." I was like,
hey,
"Okay, you can come." I like,
well, holla at me, man. I'm trying to go next year. I would love to be a part of Schaumburg. I ain't that far. I'm in Connecticut. I can drive. That's like 2 hours.
Stay on them, man, in case somebody drops out. But it's It's like it's so good that it's almost scary. Like the waves of people. Like I was like legit intimidated by the droves and droves of people that were like the crowd was like pulsating with people with so many people, and everybody's just there to buy black shit and just
All right, man.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Just stay on them. Stay on them.
I'm gonna try. That's one of my goals for next year is to either get in or get invited, one or the other.
Yeah.
So, but yes, that's awesome. I was actually gonna do multiverse. I was thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
I heard about it. Yeah.
That's
I heard about it,
man.
but
really good event.
well, I mean, I gotta fly to Atlanta to go, and I ain't driving. I don't drive to Atlanta no more. I gave up that years ago.
I got you.
And I'm already flying to Columbus.
The good thing about multiverse is it's more of a fantasy, like novel type thing. So when you have comics there, we stand out more. Like I did very well there. I think just because I was the only comic guy there. I might have been. I think Scooter with Gemini was there. But yeah. It's if you can get great time, man. People are cool.
Maybe next year. Definitely. I'll definitely look into it next year.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you. Good luck, man. And we talk all day. We talk every day on Facebook.
Absolutely.
So we'll definitely keep in touch. And hopefully I get to see you the next time I'm in Atlanta, man.
Hit me up, man. We'll hang out.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by another episode of the Stoked Podcast. Creative Talk with Creative People. We'll see you next week. I don't know who's next week. It might be Kevin Chapman.
Okay.
Maybe that's why he on there so far. So, and y'all know when the show is when he get on. So just bear with us.
All right.
So y'all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.